some of your comments here to see what you think. And Phil, there's an update here. Kvaratskhelia to Paris Saint-Germain. Here we go.
Great signing, man.
Great
Why
signing.
Arsenal not on that one then?
Should be. Clearly
It's
don't
not
want
even that
it.
expensive. I'm sure it's like 60 million euros.
63. What a steal. 63 million. We paid 65 for Havertz. Steal.
Why are Arsenal not good? They need a left winger. Come on, get him, man.
Don't get it.
He's
Don't
quality.
get it. Well, let's go PSG, apparently.
Pav here says, I'm happy that we've signed Zubi, but I still need signings this window. We need a new striker and an attacking winger minimum. There's talk of strikers. Benjamin Šeško's name has come up again. Would you be happy with that, Potsy, if Šeško was to come in from Leipzig?
I can't say that I've watched a lot of him, but the little I've seen of him, it hasn't really impressed me. He looks a bit raw. Looks like he's going to be ready in a few years. I'd rather have someone who's ready now. I'd rather go and get an Isak or a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, someone I know that can score goals. Šeško hasn't even been the top scorer for Leipzig, if I'm honest with you. I don't know that it's much of an upgrade on Jesus or Havertz, to be fair, but I think that a lot of Arsenal fans would like that. I saw rumours today of Vlahovic as well. I don't know how true those rumours are. Obviously, Colin Mawani being linked with a move out of PSG to Juventus, and then obviously that would then potentially pave the way for Vlahovic. David Ornstein has come out and said that Arsenal potentially looking at a loan overseas. Could that be Vlahovic, loan with an obligation to buy? I don't know. I think we're all guessing, if I'm honest with you at the moment. All I know is Arsenal need a forward, mate. That's all I know. And I don't know who it's going to be. If we don't get that forward, we've got Sterling, who has been injury prone. We've got Waneri out, Saka out, and that leaves us with Havertz and Trossard and Martinelli because, of course, Jesus has done his ACL. And I wanted to just actually run something by you, lads. Actually,
is that official? Yeah, is that official, Potter?
What is
the ACL? Is that like official? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think he's just got see his days out. If I'm honest, Jesus, he's finished in Crocs, really, isn't he? But out of the 4 signings that Arsenal have signed this summer transfer window, Neto hasn't played a game in 31. To be fair, you probably wouldn't expect him to play many because he's a backup goalkeeper and he was cup tied in the Carabao Cup. He didn't play in the FA Cup, right? Sterling has started 5 games in 31 games. Marino has only started 12 and Calafiori has only started 12. So that's how much of an impact our summer has had, which is nothing, no impact whatsoever. So I think that is why I don't know why people seem to believe that the summer window was harsh when we were all saying it was a 4 or a 5. And some people are now saying it's a 2 or a 3. Others were going, it's a 7, it's an 8. Look at what Sterling can do. We all know Sterling. He's a genius. He's been amazing.
Do you think it's whenever this transfer window ends, it's how many times we crown West Ham were crowned as one of the winners with the players they bought on paper, and it never came to fruition. Because if Calafiori had been fit all year, and if Sterling did deliver what he'd done before at, say, City, it maybe would feel a little bit different for you. But as you say, most of those guys have had injury problems, as an example, and your team's suffering. So in reality, it's gone from, let's just say people thought it was a 7. Let's give it a conservative 7 out of 10. In reality, it's been a lot worse than that because they haven't been fit. They haven't been available. They haven't had the impact on the pitch. Some people opinions were right that this is terrible. They're not going to have the impact. Absolutely. I also remember a few years ago when you guys signed the sort of Ramsdales and the Tomiyasus, and I remember a lot of the TPFs, the toxic positivity fans, going, this was awful. And then 6 weeks later, it's like, wow, look at what we've signed. It can go either way from the summer. I think what's really stood out to me this week, if we just, everything else has gone the same so far this season, what was missing in the summer was a goal scorer. If you had Alexander Isak, if you had Victor Gyökeres, and let's just play a game that they're performing at their current level, if Isak was at Arsenal, do you think Arsenal will be top of the league and still in the cup competitions?
I think we'd be in the cup competitions, and I think that we'd have a great chance of being close, if not ahead of Liverpool, yeah. Because we have had chances this season that Havertz has fluffed, that Trossard has fluffed, that Martinelli has fluffed, that Sterling has fluffed, Jesus has fluffed. And I think that if you've got an absolute killer up there that isn't going to do that, like we saw against Arsenal, Newcastle, they didn't have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chances. They had 3 and they scored 2 goals. That is what the difference is. They've got killers up top. Like, Anthony Gordon's another one. He'd walk into our first team at the moment. People might not want him, but he would definitely get ahead of Martinelli and Trossard. Isak would start. So that's where I'm at with it, and that's why it does frustrate me, just going back to LB's point, when the players are doing this, get up. And the manager's doing this, get up.
Mm.
Because we're seeing absolute trash at the moment. And we're seeing
Mm.
real bad
I
sort
get
of,
that.
and now we're at the Cups, by the way. You know what their
Mm.
reward will be? Dubai. Off to Dubai
Yeah,
again.
well, they did well last year. Listen, the only reason I asked that question is if you're someone that's teetering on the idea of saying goodbye to the manager, it's fair. But if you feel that, and this is I've seen a lot of people angry over the weekend, and it's like, if we'd have signed a striker, we'd be doing this. I feel like if you're one player away from it working, then I don't see the necessity to rip it all apart. I see it being more sensible to add that striker. Now, if you think there's more than just that as a problem, if you're like, well, it doesn't matter. If Isak was here, we'd still be 6 points off top. We'd still be out the cups. Then absolutely fair. Some people 1 minute are going, if we just had that Bagsman, we'd be top of the league. The next breath, we've still got to get rid of the manager, though. That doesn't compute for me because Hussam is not an Arsenal fan, but he tripped himself up last week. Keeps saying Arsenal were the favourites to win the league, but then did a show to cook Arsenal saying they should be sacking the manager today. I said, well, that doesn't make sense for Sam. How can they be the favourites to win the league, but you think they've got to sack their manager? Those two things, again, they for me, they're a contradiction in each other. And I'm just intrigued to see the people's views on that because I feel like if they had an Isak, if they had a Gyökeres, you'd have won the game at the weekend. Those players aren't missing those chances. The chances against Newcastle, look, Newcastle did very well. But I'm sitting there because the debate we had was, why should Isak pick Arsenal over Newcastle? And I'm like, well, because if he switched teams at the beginning of the season, he'd be in a team that's top of the league and heading towards the final of the Carabao Cup if he'd have picked Arsenal and not stayed there. And I just feel, I kind of get, I'm judging Arteta based on winning trophies. I also do get why the Arsenal board might just say, let's give him Zubimendi, let's give him a top striker, let's give him another attacking midfield player and give him a go because you are so close. Unless you'd lost the dressing room or something.
There's a few things there. I think Kai Havertz is our number 9 right now, and that's the difference. They've got Isak, we've got Havertz. That's why Newcastle are essentially through and we're out, right? Kai Havertz missed from a yard against you guys and missed from 2 yards of a header against Newcastle. Isak buries both of them, and it might be a different story, right? Now, when I look at that, I think whose fault is it that we've got Havertz up front? Mikel Arteta is the manager who bought this player for £65 million and said, I want you to be my number 9. And I would argue as well at the moment, although they might score some, I don't think they'd score anywhere near as much as they would perhaps in, say, Liverpool side, Isak, because the way that we're playing football is actually not that free-flowing for Isak to actually deliver. So I do think that he would score goals still because I think he's that good. And I think Gyökeres is the same. But I think there's a problem there with that. The other thing you've got is I don't think we are just the final striker away from being this elite team. I think there is more problems than that. Because if you go through where we're at right now, I think we're happy with the goalkeeper in the first team. I think we're happy with Timber and White at right back. And I think we've got Gabriel and Saliba as one of the best partnerships there. LB's made it right that we haven't got much cover after that. But at left back, we're still not quite sure who it is. Is it Calafiori, who looks like a centre-back to me? Is it a Zinchenko? No. Is it a Tomiyasu? Not really. Definitely not a Kieran Tierney. Lewis Skelly has actually been our best left-back this season, if you're going to be really petty about it.
Question on him. Is he a midfielder by trade?
He is a midfielder. He is, right. He is a midfielder. Yeah, he is a midfielder. And do you know what? He's been one of the shining lights this season for me, actually. He's been one of the positives coming through because he's been really good. And I didn't expect him to play there, but he's really, really shone there. You move into midfield, you've got Rice and potentially Zubimendi coming in the 6, but you're still not quite sure what's happening in the 8. Is Rice going to be the 8? Is that good enough? You still don't really have cover for Odegaard unless you believe Ethan is that guy now. You've still not got cover for Saka because Sterling won't stay. People are telling me we need a left winger as well as a striker. So that's 6 players. So we're still, and I think we do need to keep evolving because you're going to have to sell players. I don't think there's futures of Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Kivior, potentially Jorginho and Partey, Sterling, Jesus. These guys might all have to go.
Real Madrid as well, isn't it?
Well, that's another one, right?
Well, the thing is, you might laugh, but he's only got 2 years left on his contract.
Well, I'm laughing because I kind of believe he's going to go there one day. I hope it's not soon, but I believe he's going to go there. We've seen this before, haven't we? And this is my danger when I said don't start a youth project. They all end up leaving. And people said, how do you know that? Well, I've got evidence of it. We've already done 2. They've all left. Every single one went. Fabregas went. Van Persie went. Sagna, Clichy, Adebayor, Toure. They all went to Man City. Then, of course, you've got Alexis Sanchez swapping to go to you guys at Manchester United. This has all been done before. And then you look at the next youth project with Jack Wilshere and Aaron Ramsey and Oxlade-Chamberlain, Theo Walcott. We had the other two lads at the back, Jenkinson and Gibbs at the time, who were part of this youth project. They didn't do anything. So we have done this before. And what my biggest kind of worry, I suppose, now is that Saka, Odegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, these guys will do the same one day, because that will happen if we continue to win nothing. So that's why we've got to put pressure on it, man, big time. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Arsenal. But
to answer Terry's question though about if they're only a couple of players away, I'd go with that if he'd won some trophies, i.e. Carabao Cups, because the squad that he's had has been capable of doing that. And he can't even get past the 4th round of the FA Cup, this guy.
Crazy.
No, if he would have won a couple of cups, and by the way, yeah, I've said this for years, and I said, I think he's proper Mr. Trick in not going strong for these domestic cups. Because I think
I agree with that. I agree with that, yeah.
You're basically saying, well, if there are only a couple of players away, why not just give him another chat? Why? Because there's no evidence that even with those players that he'll get them across the line. That would be the answer to it. If you would have won an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, along the way, a couple of them just spread out, you might go, you know what? Yeah, he's got a proven track record that this guy can win. So if we get him the players that we think we need to get him across the line, then see what he does. But there's not. It's just another complete gamble. So that would be my response to that.
Yeah, listen, I think that holds a lot of water. I think it really does. And there are a lot of sensible conversations going on about Mikel Arteta in the future of Arsenal. The one thing that I will stand firm on is that they have to keep investing and buying players. Even if they'd won all these trophies, they still have to keep fucking spending and investing, because at the end of the day, you have to. And that's something
look at us.
We should always be pushing for.
Bro, we stopped investing this summer. We fell off. You got to continue to invest every summer. Spend. If you don't, you'll fall off. And that's what's happened to us.